What is going on, everybody? My name is Nick, and this is the ROK Music Review, your place to discover and discuss Korean music. So, we have already seen my reaction to the song Rookie by Red Velvet, and so now it is time for me to take a closer look, as I needed to do with this song, like most definitely, and give you my final, this is like listening to it for like a couple hours straight, verdict on this song. So first off, let's just briefly talk about the pronunciation of the chorus, because 90% of the chorus is saying rookie like you would in Korean, and that's basically it. That's really just the very gist of it. Like, that's how they say it in Korean. There's nothing wrong with the pronunciation because, of course, they're not speaking English. But of course, I had a pretty strong reaction to that, as a lot of people did. You know, it's kind of funny, it's strange, it's weird coming from my perspective. And, you know, it was like, that's wrong. Why would you make 90% of your chorus a, poor pronunciation of an English word, even if it is a loan word that you've adapted to Korean? Why would you do that? But, they don't make K-pop music for me. And this is just one of those, those moments where you realize, I'm not Korean. They don't make this music at me. This is not targeted at me specifically. So I listened to it a couple times last night, and I was like, I just gotta stop, because all I'm doing is just hating and getting all worked up over the pronunciation. So I stopped, I slept on it, I came back, and I realized, hey, it's not really that wrong. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It's just different. It doesn't sound right to my brain, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily wrong, because of course you gotta take into consideration the context in which it's being used, and of course the context is that they're speaking Korean, not English. And so the pronunciation is Korean instead of English. So that is that. That is my final thought. This is my final verdict on that. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm not going to bring it up. It's done. It's dead. I've killed it. No more talking about it. It's water under the bridge. So, that's that. Ultimately, unlike what I thought last night, it ruined where I thought it kind of ruined the song. It doesn't really ruin the song. So that is that. So to actually move on to talking about the actual song, overall, pretty, I'm enjoying it. I definitely am. I know there's a lot of people out there who say that it's a bad song, and that, but I don't necessarily think that it is a bad song per se. I mean, I'm enjoying it. Red Velvet's always released, their promo tracks or album tracks. Basically, every song that they've ever, had their name associated with has been good in one way or another. And this one is good in many, many ways. It's also not so good in some other ways. But, of course, we're going to talk about that. So the ways that it is good, first off, because people like hearing good things, before bad things, I think. So first off, I think the verses are really, 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 really great. I love just the way that they flow, the way that they sound. I think that, going with, more, I wouldn't say that it's rap vocals, but but it's not singing, I guess like more like spoken word or something like that for, the first half of every single verse is unique, and the flow and the presentation of that is just really, really cool. And also the way that it kind of ties in with the music track as well is also, it works. It makes the entire flow of, that portion of the song and that very, very cool. And then there's also the angle of they started with, what you would generally call and consider to be a rap verse, just very, very loosely, I would say. And that's different. Groups don't normally do that. And, they just basically just jumped straight into the song, and, they went from 0 to 100 in like 2 seconds after they did the call out for the producer or whoever. And then the song started, didn't stop until the song was finished. And, that's really, really awesome, right? And then, of course, the most important part of any pop song is the catchy chorus. And boy, does this song have a catchy chorus. The song is just like, it's catchy. Either way, whether you like it or you don't like it, you definitely will be remembering it. And it basically just comes down to the fact that they're repeating words that are 2 syllables that sound basically the same. I mean, essentially every single word that is in the chorus rhymes with each other. So, I mean, I know it's only like 4 different words, I think, but they all rhyme. They're all the same sort of length. It all flows. It's got this thing, the more you listen to it, the more you get familiar with it, the more that you remember it. Like, I think I could sing this damn thing in my sleep because I've listened to it so much, of course, to make this review. So, I mean, at the very least, right, the chorus is good. In that regard. Of course, people are probably going to say it doesn't fit. I've seen people say it doesn't fit with the rest of the song, but I kind of disagree with that, because listening to the music track and stuff, it does kind of flow. Maybe the vocals don't really mesh, but we'll talk about that a little bit later, because I got to bring up the final point. The final point of praise for the song is that there are many, many, many little details in the music that you probably will not notice the first time you listen to it, because as I said, the vocals dominate everything else. It's kind of not wrong for the vocals to dominate, because it should, to an extent, or there should be a nice little balance, and there is to an extent. But the things that you won't recognize is you won't recognize the bass guitar that's going throughout the entire song, and it is good. It is a really good bass guitar riff or line or whatever's going on down there is good. It's got some groove to it. It's awesome. I love listening to it. If I could get a track to just isolate the bass guitar in this song, I think I would enjoy listening to that. There you got some brass instruments in there, some horns and stuff like that to highlight highlight and accentuate the chorus a little bit. I think you only really hear them during the chorus, but they are there. They provide a little bit more, high pitch, bring a little bit more, high notes and stuff like that into the or high pitches and stuff like that into the song to, I guess, balance out a little bit of the low sound of the verses. It's all cool. There's tons of little things in this song that in the music track that you won't necessarily, hear, and they just flesh out the entire sound of the song. So the main point of the song, I think, really is the backbone of the song are the vocals and all of that, but all of the music just works together to actually, give you something that you don't necessarily pay attention to. I'm not really, after listening to this, I can't really tell you anything about what the song any moment with the music itself that I actually love, but I can tell you, right, I like the verses, I like the chorus is catchy. I can tell you a lot of stuff and that about the vocals, but the music is completely different. The music, I think, is probably ultimately the star of the show, but you're not going to notice it because it's not meant to be noticed. There's so many little different subtle things going on in there that you won't notice it right away, and that's pretty awesome. I think it's really, really good. And so the one I guess thing that I have to say that's kind of a criticism or a drawback of the song for me is that ultimately the song, as much as I like the song and as much as I enjoy listening to it, compared to other Red Velvet releases and stuff, a song is, as it being an upbeat Red Velvet song, it just kind of falls a little bit flat. It just feels a little flat. Now, I think that really comes down to that's kind of the intention. That's just the feeling of the verses and stuff. But Red Velvet is really, really known for having stuff that, at least with their last few releases and stuff, for being super duper upbeat with these sorts of songs. And this one just doesn't, in my mind, doesn't really meet that that level of their previous songs so much, quite as much. And that's not really a bad thing, but that just ultimately means that I don't think that, or I don't, me personally, as far as my rating of this song, I wouldn't rate this above very many of their other songs, or at least their upbeat songs. I don't really want to rate it or compare it to their ballad songs or their Velvet songs. I don't really want to do that. I don't think that's fair. But if I was going to have a ranking, a top 4 or something like that, I would say Ice Cream Cake's number 1, Russian Relay is the second, Happiness is third. This comes in at 4th. This is their 4th mini album and stuff. So this is their my least favorite song from them, as far as these Red concepts go. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, and the song ultimately isn't really that bad. It's just not my favorite. So that's what I got. So upon further review, Red Velvet's Rookie is actually not as bad as I initially thought, as bad as everybody else is thinking. And the strength, the real big strength of this is the fact that the music track is the hero that nobody notices by just filling everything else out. The vocals, of course, are the backbone, but the music is just fills up all that empty space that needs to be filled. So that is what I have got to say. That is my further review, my additional review, my closer look at the song from Red Velvet. I want to know what you thought of this song. You've had some time to listen to it. You've had some time to evaluate it. Maybe what I said has changed your mind or altered your thoughts or anything like that. Put whatever you think down in the comments. Or, of course, you can send that stuff to me on social media through Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. If you really want to do on Instagram, that's cool. I got links on all of my social media profiles down below. And while you're down there, you might as well check out my affiliate links to Amazon and eBay, because those will direct you to places where you can buy this mini album to support Red Velvet and also support me at the same time. So you're going to get something cool. I'm going to get something cool. Red Velvet and SM Entertainment are going to get something cool. That's a win-win situation for everybody involved, and those are the best kinds of situations. So that is going to be it for this video. As always, I want to thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.